guys, it's Lauren, and today I'm going to show you how to make Halloween cake pops. So for starters, you're going to need some cake. I made some red velvet just because I think it's ultra spooky. Next, using a bench scraper, we're going to cut up our cake and crumble it into a large bowl. Once you've made your cake into really fine crumbs, we're going to add some frosting to it to make it a Play-Doh-like consistency. Once your cake crumb and frosting mixture comes together like Play-Doh, we're going to roll them into individual balls. Alright, so once we've shaped our cake pops into balls, I'm going to show you how we're going to shape it into a pumpkin like these guys. So you're just going to take your regular cake pop ball, you're going to squish it down a little bit to flatten it, and don't worry about these cracks. When we dip it in candy melts, they're going to fill those right in. Then you're going to take a cake pop stick and you're going to make divots all around the sides. And that way, when we dip it in our melted orange candy melts, it's going to look like a pumpkin when it comes out. There you have it. Now that all of our cake pops are shaped, we're going to stick them in the fridge to firm up while we heat up our candy melts. Alright, so all I'm going to do is just put a bag of orange candy melts into my Wilton candy melter. And I kind of just let it sit and wait, stir it a little bit, and eventually they're gonna melt down. Also, if you plan on making a lot of cake pops in the future like me, I strongly recommend getting one of these Wilton candy melters. I actually have two, and they just make your life so much easier because then you don't have to go to the microwave and, melt your candy melts and then stir them and then melt them for another 10 seconds, which gets really tedious. So definitely get one of these, and I'll put a link in the blog. Once your candy melts have completely melted down, you're going to take your cake pops back out of the fridge and we're going to stick the cake pop sticks into them using just a little bit of the candy melts. Alright, so like I said, we're just going to dip the bottom of the cake stick like that, and then we're going to stick it into one of our cake pops. And you might want to just smooth the bottom a little bit, that way it comes out cleaner in the end. And you're just going to do this to all the rest of your cake pops. And now we're just going to pop these back in the fridge for 30 minutes. So now that our cake pops have chilled for another 30 minutes, we're going to decorate them. We're going to use the same orange candy melts that we used earlier, and then we're going to use pretzels for the stem. And if you want, you can break off a few of the tips in advance because you're going to want to stick them in right away. And then I like to just tap them because that way you can get all of that excess off. And then you're just going to stick the stem in. Once the candy melts have set on our pumpkin cake pops, then we're going to use some green candy melts and add a tiny vine. Alright, and as you can see, I just clipped a tiny little bit off the end here, and we're just going to pipe on a little vine. And you can go ahead and do that on the rest of yours. And there you have it, guys, pumpkin cake pops. I've melted down some white candy melts, and now we're just going to stick the cake pop sticks into our mummy cake pops. Also, pro tip, make sure that you put your candy melts on the medium setting when they're in the Wilton candy melter. That way your candy melts won't burn while you're working. And now we're going to stick these in the fridge for another 30 minutes before we decorate. In order to make our mummy cake pops, we're going to take our cake pops and dip them back into the white candy melts. Then we're going to add these cute little Wilton candy eyeballs, and finally we're going to pipe on stripes to make it look like the mummy wrapping. So I've transferred our white candy melt into a piping bag, and what I like to do is just kind of pipe out a little mound of the white, and then I like to just dip the candy eyeballs in that and stick them to the cake pop. Alright, so like I said, we're just going to take our cake pop, we're going to take a candy eyeball, dip it in there, and then stick it right on. And of course, second one. And if you want to have a three-eyed mummy, I say go for it. Also, don't worry if you get any excess candy melts, because we're just going to drizzle them to make it look like a wrapped mummy. So if it gets messy, no worries. Alright, and now we're going to drizzle our white candy melts crisscross on our mummy cake pops. And there you have it, guys, Halloween cake pops. I really hope you liked this cake pop tutorial, and if you haven't already, make sure to follow me at QEatsWithYou on Instagram. And make sure to hit subscribe. And don't forget to check out the blog for more information and recipes. Happy eating!